SQL Scripts was our Down Tools Week project. If you didn't come to the Down Tools Week readout, then basically SQL Scripts was an add-in to SSMS that makes SQL Server Central's community scripts collection available within SSMS. And we started work on this over a year ago in a previous Down Tools Week. And the motivation was really, I think mostly on Kevin's part, to demonstrate that we could have modern Redgate user interfaces designed in HTML5. And SQL Scripts was a problem that allowed us to explore that and write the typical Redgate application, an SSMS add-in, but with an HTML5 user interface. So this is a screenshot of what it is we built, in case you didn't see it. You can see on the left there's a search result which shows the scripts available on SQL Server Central, and on the right there's a preview, and this is all hosted within SSMS. So how do you write a add-in for SSMS? These days, if we're doing this, then you write it as a plugin for SIP framework. Simple extensibility framework. It's a bit like MEF and math, but it's kind of a homegrown one. What this does, it means that actually hooking into SSMS is incredibly simple. It takes care of loading itself into SSMS 2005 to 2014, so it installs itself and hooks in. That's taken care of. It's not concerning your application. It makes your code very clean. It gives you an interface which you use. You don't have to worry about SMS integration code. So this makes writing an SMS add-in really straightforward and lets your application focus on solving its problems, not on the problems of being part of SSMS. And I'm giving a longer talk on this on Friday. I'll send out the invite this afternoon. So this is an example of some work I did. SQL Test, a dramatic example. I rewrote SQL Test, SQL Search to be add-ins for SSMS beginning of this year. And SQL Test in particular, we see almost half the number of lines of code. The assembly is dramatically reduced, and the installer was simplified. So it's a really good thing. It's as simple as, if you want to do it, then you just reference the interfaces, you implement this interface, and you make an entry in the registry and say, hey, load me, and off you go. It's really that easy to be an SSMS add-in.
So for the HTML5 stuff, I've spoken about this loads of times before. I think HTML5 is a brilliant way to build UIs, and coupling that with C# is a brilliant way to build applications. What I didn't go into detail on the last time is that HTML5, the way that we've done it on our products so far, is to use Chrome Embedded. And a big part of Chrome Embedded is that native Chrome component, the rendering engine and the JavaScript engine, that sort of stuff. And for a plugin environment like SSMS, the sort of dirty secret is that you can't load two versions of the same native library without doing a lot of sort of gymnastics. So we have never actually shipped one that plugs into SSMS before, because the fear always was that the next time the next product comes along, if they use a slightly different version of Ceph, that when both those products load, they'll explode in interesting ways. So this is one of the things we set out to fix this time, so we could actually ship this, and SQL source control can ship and that kind of stuff. So the way we fix this is by stealing some code from David Simner and the deployment manager team, which is to load most of your application in a separate process, and then use some fancy Windows magic that allows you to paint a window handle in a host application, even though it's running an external process. So here in Process Explorer, you can see that SSMS at the top, it's spawned off a child process called redgate.apphost.client, and that apphost client actually has Chrome Embedded running. So SSMS itself, the actual SSMS component of SQL Scripts is maybe 100 lines of code at most, and all of it exists in a separate process and then it's remoted in. This is some nice advantages, like if you have to, well obviously for the native library use case, like that we've got, or if you have to have, let's say you want to run SQL Compare out of process as a 64-bit application, so it can take like 128 gigs of RAM or whatever it wants to do, then you can do that and still have it accessible within 32-bit applications. We wrote this as a totally separate package, so it's available on NuGet.redgate.com at the minute, and we'll probably publish it to the main public NuGet repository. Thanks to Alistair for doing a code review and making sure this is sort of up to scratch.
Yeah, so this was the second Down Tools week we worked on it, and this Down Tools week, it was my first one, and we had a pretty good prototype. But what we had to do to be able to release it was to improve the UI a lot and fix up the CSS. So what we did is we improved the workflow and then removed Bootstrap and made everything as CSS components. So I want to show you just how the workflow is now. So, yeah, so basically we use Gulp And that's basically, we just run gut from the command line after npm install, and it takes care of concatenating all the files and adding them to live reload, and that allows us. Here I have SQL Scripts running in the browser, and the nice thing is that I can develop the whole UI without touching SSMS. So I just do all my work here in the browser, and say I want to work on the navigation here. I open up the navigation, CSS component, and I want to try a new color here. And then when I save the file, it automatically updates, and it only kind of pushes the changes I made over the wire. So it's very nice how rapid you can change, and you can kind of explore ideas by writing the code instead of designing it in a separate tool. And then then the next step would be to actually open up SSMS. If I hold down Shift and open it up, I will get a separate DevTools window for the application running within SSMS. So this is just like a normal DevTools, and I can open up the console if I have some JavaScript errors, and so that's pretty nice. Here. And one about the future work, we have converted it all to an Angular single page application now, and it's all open source, so if you want to participate, talk to us.
So there's lots of components that go into making this product, lots of things that are tied together. It starts with SIP, and then you've got the app host and the app client, and that's using Ceph and the SQL Server Central API. And a lot of people kind of worked on these different components at the same time. And really, we were able to build this quite sophisticated, complex application and plug it all together so quickly, because all the components, everyone's gone to the extra effort to give everything a clean API. So a lot of the bits can be reused. Obviously, SIP framework is designed to be reused. The app host, the out-of-process stuff, that's a NuGet package. It's got a nice clean API. It's designed to be reused. And that allowed us to build this application incredibly quickly. Lots of those components are available on Redgate's internal NuGet feed, and we hope that they will find other uses in time. So what next? Basically, we are ready to release this. We're just waiting for DevOps to add download links into SQL Server Central. So the idea is all of SQL Server Central's scripts pages will have a link at the top saying, get SQL Scripts, get this feature within SSMS, which is where you want it. We're open sourcing all the code, so we've gone to the effort to strip out all of Redgate's project code from the code base. We took away all our dependencies on shared utils and things, and we're open sourcing it. So hopefully hopefully the community will get involved and they'll pick this up. And it also serves as a fantastic example of how you can write an add-in for SSMS using Redgate's framework. Thirdly, in the middle of next month, SIP framework will add a sort of add-in store to SSMS discreetly that will let you find and install add-ins. So I've got a screenshot for that. This is a prototype, but that's how it looks at the moment. This opens within SSMS. You can see on the right-hand side there's free add-ins, and on the left-hand side there are paid-for add-ins. So that's going to be built in, and you can obviously manage the add-ins you've got. So lots of people are involved in this project, and it's sort of a testament to all their hard work that we're able to put this together. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.